After a lot of research and different debates I've been having, it is finally time for my official 2024 FNCS Global Championship predictions. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We are literally 100 subs away from 65,000. So if you want to help me reach that goal, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Use code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. Gonna support me even more. The FNCS pickaxe is literally coming to the item shop tonight. So if you're going to be buying that, please use code KDOG when you do so. Follow me on my Twitter at KDOG to keep up to date with everything to do with Fortnite competitive. Without further ado though, let's get straight into today's video. All right, so I need to give a little bit of background on how I made my picks for this. So looking at last year's actual top 10 in the leaderboard, there was 4 EU teams, 5 NA teams, and then 1 smaller region team being Asia. So in my top 10, it's mainly going to be EU and NA, but I also wanted to make sure I had 1 smaller region team in my top 10 as well. But this globals is literally so stacked that I have to have some honorable mentions as well as teams that I feel like are going to be like boom or bust teams, which means I feel like they have the potential to either do really good or they could also do really bad, and I'm just in the middle on them right now. So I want to go over those teams first. All right, so I have 3 honorable mentions and 3 boom or bust teams, and my first honorable mention team, these are teams I feel like could place anywhere between top 15 or also sneak into that top 10, and my first one is Queasy and Thomas HD. Now Queasy and Thomas HD struggled in last grands, finishing in 35th as well as finishing 51st, not being able to qualify for the only dual cash cup so far this season, but I still do think these are both very good LAN players. Queasy placed 11th last LAN with Vino, and these are both just comp vets that I really do believe in the potential of. I just can't put them in my exact top 10 yet. My second honorable mention is actually Dukes and Sphinx. Now Dukes and Sphinx placed 6th place in last FNCS Grand Finals, and in the cash cup this season they finished in exactly 5th. Now this was honestly a team that I was really teetering towards putting in like my exact 10th spot, but I think there is just 1 or 2 teams that just barely outdo them. But if I was making like a top 11 list, I think they would be in 11th place. Also, Duke still has me blocked on Twitter, so Dukes, please unblock me by now. It's been 3 years. My last honorable mention team is Bryce and Bolts. Now Bryce and Bolts finished in 8th place in last grands, and then they weren't able to actually qualify for the only duo cash cup so far this season. But a reason why a lot of people are a lot higher on Bryce and Bolts than me is because Bryce actually finished in 6th place in last LAN, which I mean, you can take that how you want. I think Bryce and Bolts are a very good team. Obviously everyone says they're a super underrated team, so I don't really know how underrated that really makes them if everyone thinks they're underrated, but I still do think they are a very good team. I think they have the potential to be able to get into that top 10, but as of right now I just have to keep them in my honorable mentions. All right, one final thing before I get into the official top 10, I want to give my 3 high potential or boom or bust teams. I know everybody makes predictions videos, so I'm trying to do something a little creative here, but I have 3 separate teams and I kind of just want to know your guys' opinion on them, on teams that I think could either do super well or I could just be overhyping them and they completely flop. So the first team I have on this is Bugha and Aviv. Now Bugha and Aviv won the only cash cup so far of the season on NA. Bugha, obviously the World Cup winner, multiple FNCS wins. He just really hasn't had a good LAN placement since World Cup, and I think this is going to be Aviv's first ever LAN event as well, so I do have a little bit of like a nerve suspicion for both of them here. But they placed 7th in last grands, and then I'm pretty sure they finished top 3 like the last grands they played together as well. So this is no doubt a very good team and they have very high potential, but both of them recently just haven't been the best LAN players, so that is the only reason why I'm a little skeptical on them. All right, next up on that list is Ping and Wox. Now Ping and Wox are an EU team that placed 7th place in the last grands as well as 15th place in the duo cash cup so far this season. I do honestly just like their drop spot and the surge potential they have with how many teams they have around them. I think Ping and Wox are one of the like main like definition of a boom or bust team, and I'm very excited to see how they play this weekend. For my final boom or bust team, I have a Phil team, and that is Cheeps and Iamzo. Now honestly, I really wanted to put Cheeps and Iamzo in my top 10. They have looked so good in scrims. They were able to place 25th in the duo cash cup finals when Cheeps was actually playing from EU on NA ping, and like this team hasn't been together for very long, but in the few tournaments and scrims that they have played together so far, they look so good. The only reason why I don't have them like in my official top 10, if you look at their drop spot situation, it's looking looking like they are going to be triple contested off spawn, as well as they are kind of just the team that is in the middle of the two other teams. So it could get really rough for this team, and they could just be dying off spawn a bunch and finish in like 40th place, or they could be able to get the loot, rotate out, and be able to make endgame. And when they are in endgame, I feel like they're a very good duo together. So I mean, most of it really just depends on the off spawn situation. I don't really trust it all too much right now, but I still do just really like this team, so I wanted to at least put them here. All right, it is finally time for the official top 10, and coming in 10th place actually includes one of the defending champions of the FNCS Globals trophy, and that is Cooper and Kanata. I have in 10th place. Now I know Cooper and Kanata got 14th place last grands, and they didn't even qualify for the Cash Cup so far this season, but the only reason why they didn't place better last season was obviously because of the cactus change last minute. And now with them having almost a full month to fully prepare in this meta for globals, I think they will show the world why they are a top 10 duo, and I have them finishing in exactly 10th. In 9th place is my one mandatory small region team, and it is King and Phaser. Now, King and Phaser won last season's Brazil FNCS Grand Finals, as well as they won the only Cash Cup so far this season. This team has also been playing a lot of FNCS Global Championship scrims that are run on NA while they have been in Brazil. So this team is grinding harder than ever, and they honestly haven't even looked like necessarily bad in those scrims either. They do have an uncontested split drop spot as well. I feel like out of all of these small region teams, they definitely have the best chance to be able to pull off a top 10, and that is why I have them in exactly 9th place. In 8th place is my first team that is actually going to be contested. Now this is a pick that could possibly come back to bite me later on, but I have Malabuka and Mustache in 8th place. Now Malabuka and Mustache are going to be fighting Alex and Worthy off spawn in globals. I don't think they are going to be splitting this drop spot. I think this will be a fight, and most of my belief on why I think they will be able to place in 8th is because I think they are just that good of a team in general, as well as they are a very good off spawn team. I know Alex and Worthy have literally been landing there like all year, but I have to be straight up here, and I just think Malabuka and Mustache are simply just better. And no, I'm not saying they're going to beat them every single game off spawn, but I'm saying in the games that they do, it'll help boost their Storm Surge. And I think they are already just such good land players in general that they are going to be able to finish in the top 10, and that is why I have them in my 8th spot. 7th place is another team that is contested, but it looks like they are going to be splitting the POI. I have Re and Ritual. Now again, just looking at their last two major tournament placements, they really did not place the best. For some reason though, I still just have a lot of belief in this team. They're splitting one of the better POIs at LAN, and I think that the potential of this duo is literally like a top 5 potential, and I just really couldn't see myself putting them any lower than a 7th place on my list. 6th is another team that is contested. We're going on like a contested streak here, and that is Acorn and Cold. Now Acorn and Cold are currently contested by Andalex and Sato, but if FNCSs and Cash Cups have told us anything, it is that no matter whether or not this team is contested by 1 team, 2 teams, 3 teams, they are still going to be able to find a way to place inside that top 10 mark, and a lot of the times they finish in the top 3 mark. It is still currently unknown whether or not these teams are going to be fighting off spawn or if they are going to be splitting. And yes, I do know how good Andalex and Sato are, but this is another case of I just simply think Cold and Acorn are better, and I really do think you're crazy if you're completely out on them simply because of the fact they are contested and they had like a rough Cash Cup this season. If they were uncontested, they would be in my top 2 on this list, but just simply because of that fact, I have them in 6th place. It's finally time to get into the top 5 though, and in 5th place, I have Batman Booga and Rapid. Now Batman Booga and Rapid are coming off of their best season they've ever had together last season, getting 2nd place in Grands as well as 4th place in the Duo Cash Cup this season. They're still going to be completely uncontested at LAN, going Grim Gate. This is one of the few teams that also played last globals together as well, and last year they finished in 14th place, so this team does have LAN experience together already. A lot of people were saying that this team is just like a 1 season wonder, and they're not going to be able to keep up this level of consistency, and I simply just have to say why to that, and that is why I have them in my top 5. I think that the curse strikes him again, and Clix and Vino finish in 4th place, giving Clix his 3rd 4th place ever. Clix and Vino are one of the more difficult teams to really rank to me, to be honest, as it's looking like they're not even going to be going for the forecast tower anymore. I feel like that is definitely going to change in globals though. Like if they're struggling without it, I think they eventually will just fight Peterbot and Pollo, but who knows how that fight is going to really go for them. Let me know in the comment section down below what place you think they're actually going to get. I just don't think Clix's first ever FNCS win is going to happen at a LAN event, but I think a 4th place is still very respectable for him. Time to get into the top 3 now, and now I have to clarify, I feel like anybody in the top 3 has the potential to be able to win, obviously, but I wanted to give an exact specific ranking, so I'm going to start off with, in 3rd place, I have Vico and Flixie. Now, Vico and Flixie won last season's EU FNCS Grand Finals, as well as won the only Duo Cash Cup so far this season on EU. They have been one of the best up-and-coming teams so far this year. Vico also placed exactly 10th place last Globals with Pink, so he does already have some LAN experience. I feel like if you're making a predictions, you have to have Vico and Flixie in your top 3 though, simply based on the fact that they are uncontested and they have just been one of the best teams in general this year, like I said earlier. Let me know what you guys think about them in the comment section down below though. All right, now 2nd place could be my most controversial pick of the video, but I think if you have been watching competitive Fortnite and you know how LAN events work, I think you will agree with me and say this is a good pick, but I have Cammy and Seti in 2nd place. That would mean this is going to be back-to-back years of Cammy and Seti finishing 2nd place at a global championship, which I must say is definitely not bad. Obviously, they're coming off that horrific Grands placement from last season, getting like 48th, where they were just getting absolutely dominated off spawn, but it's looking like they are going to be uncontested going into LAN, and we also got to see them be uncontested in a Cash Cup where they finished 3rd place this season. Cammy and Seti overall are just some of the LAN goats though, because obviously literally 2 years ago in Invitational they won that, so they would now have an Invitational win and then 2 2nd places at a LAN. I just feel like this is by far the best LAN team there, and if you're completely out on Cammy and Seti because of one bad season, for one, it was pretty much just because they were contested, and now that they're uncontested, I think all your doubts should already go away. But if they haven't already, just look at their placements at LAN and you should be back on the Cammy and Seti hype train. In 1st place though, that really only leaves one team, and if it hasn't been obvious enough to this point, it is Peterbot and Pollo I have winning this global championship, giving Peterbot and Pollo their first LAN event, as well as Peterbot's 4th ever FNCS title, and this would also give them 3 straight, giving them basically like a little duo dynasty in Fortnite now. This team is obviously coming off of back-to-back FNCS Grand Finals wins, as well as 2nd place in the most recent Duo Cash Cup. If there's any team that definitely has like the most red flags going for them, it is probably Peterbot and Pollo, simply because of the fact that they are quad contested at their drop spot. They are most likely, for the first day at least, going to be uncontested for being able to get the mythic AUG as well as the scan coin. But on day 2 is when things get a little bit tricky, because if some of the teams that are landing with them are doing bad, I feel like a lot of them are just going to start fighting Peterbot and Pollo, trying to be able to get that coin to have a big pop-off game. But at the end of the day, Peterbot and Pollo are still some of the best off-spawn fighters that Fortnite has ever seen. So it's not like it's going to be like Cammy and Seti getting fought off spawn here. It's still Peterbot and Pollo at the end of the day. The other thing is if they're able to also get forecast, which is looking like they might be able to get Clix's forecast every game also, like I talked about earlier, then they are by far going to have the best loot in the game, the best coin in the game, and a forecast tower. I just don't see how, if all 4 of those things are going for them, how they wouldn't be able to win this LAN. It would have to be some like catastrophic meltdown from them. If you're just putting into fact them getting all of those things, if you think that they are not going to win LAN, I think you're kind of just a hater at that point. But yeah, Peterbot and Pollo wrap up my top 10 list, and I think they do get the job done here. Let me know your guys' own top 5 though, because I know a top 10 can be really overwhelming. So give me at least your top 5 in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new though. If you guys have watched up until this point, especially if you're new, I know you guys are enjoying these videos, so please just subscribe and turn on notifications. Use code KDog in the Fortnite item shop and support me even more. I'm pretty sure the day I'm releasing this video, the FNCS pickaxe is actually coming to the item shop. So if you're going to be buying that, please just use code KDog. Follow me on my Twitter at KDog to keep up to date with everything to do with Fortnite competitive. YouTube says you'll enjoy 1 and 2 videos up on the screen, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.